Welcome to the LumiAero web UI, and this is a website used as a backend tool that the administrator of the application will be using to manage user data, subscriptions, aircraft information, data, and all of this data is used for a Microsoft Excel COM add-in that is meant to be used as a tool to appraise aircraft and provide future market values for people interested in leasing or purchasing aircraft. So the programming languages used to develop this, we have C#, ASP.NET Core, HTML, CSS, JavaScript and jQuery, Azure SQL for the database, and the project was started using ASP.NET 0 to get the initial boilerplate set up. So here is the user management tab for the web UI. It's located under administration and in users. So I don't have a lot to show here because all of the functionality, for the most part, was built into ASP.NET 0 as a starting point. So that includes the Excel operations, create new user, this table here, all the filters, the search bar. So I didn't do any of that. However, I did add on to what was built to add a subscription section for all of the forms and added a subscription field to the user model that was the starting point for the ASP.NET 0 template. So how this works is based on what is checked here. The user, when they log into the Excel COM add-in, they will only be able to see aircraft info from narrow-body freighters and regionals. So if I were to log in, that is the only information I'd be able to see. But if I purchased maybe the narrow body subscription, the wide body subscription, then I'd be able to see those. Or we have a package subscription here. If I bought the risk module package, all of the class subscriptions are included with that. So it's not necessary to have anything there. And then you have the full range of aircraft information and this risk module as well. So that's just how I built out that filter system and that subscription system on top of what the ASP.NET 0 boilerplate started me off with. And if we hit save, you can see my subscriptions are risk, which includes everything. Here we have the aircraft tab, and this is used to manage all the aircraft data for the application. And I tried to make this as similar as I could to the users tab. I had to build all of this out on the aircraft tab, but I was able to use some of the code from the users tab as reference to build a lot of this out. So we have Excel operations here, a button to create new aircraft, some settings for the application, a filter search bar here, table. I don't have it collapsing, that wasn't necessary, and yeah, just a small amount of data for now and some pagination that I built out as well, just as a small overview of the tab before I get into the functionality. Alright, so first bit of functionality I'll show is just the CRUD functionality for the page for aircraft. So that's create, read, update, and delete. So we can read the information here on the table, so that's already been shown. Next I will create, and I'm not going to record myself, so I'll be back when I fill out this whole page here. Okay, so filled out the form just to save some time. So we have a Boeing 777 category L, 3 depreciation rates, some limits on those depreciation rates, and a lot of other information. If we hit save, we have 2 aircraft now. So we have our Airbus A331 and our Boeing 777, as we can see here. And then just a little display of reading. We can check Boeing. We could check by manufacturer. We could check by aircraft type. There you go. And that's just a little display of how reading works. And then let's say I wanted this to actually be a 776. There we go. We have a 776. So that's updating and then deleting. Pretty simple. Just a side note in regards to editing aircraft, you'll notice that not all of the information from the form, not all of the fields from the form for the Create New Aircraft button are in this Edit Aircraft form. I have the rest in this additional information modal here, which is used for basically subcategories of the aircraft. And the way that the client stored their aircraft data, they had data split up between aircraft rating tool and just the normal aircraft data that you see here. So what I decided to do is in initializing an aircraft, when you create a new one, I wanted all of that information filled out. So just for example, you have to fill everything out. And this just prevents empty values being sent over the API and just messing up. So that's why I have these split up like so. All right, and going back to the additional information, we see the ART, also known as the Aircraft Rating Tool info. So this is the second half of the form that I just mentioned. Then we have the engines for the aircraft. So this aircraft, just some dummy data here, has an engine, an event, one value, and one assumption. Now this shows the relational database that was set up. So an aircraft can have many engines. They can have many events here. There's many future market value calculations based on the year of build, and there's many assumptions. So all of these are one-to-many relationships, and this is just what I decided to do to basically manage these. So there's CRUD for every single subcategory of or subfield of aircraft here. So you can create, you can read, you can update, and you can delete as well. So that's just an example of the subfield management and just how the database is working in the background. The next bit of functionality I want to show are the Excel operations. So there's exporting and importing for both aircraft and values, and then we have some templates here for download. So I will do some exporting, display those first. One for aircraft, one for values, and then I'll get those open. So here we have, we have both showing up. Here is the aircraft table basically in full. There's only one. I just wanted to keep things simple for the demo, but all of this matches the data that's inside the database on the website, and as you can see, it is dated here on export, and the same goes for the value calculation, the base values and all of that. So there was only one value for one aircraft, and yeah, pretty simple. All right, so I displayed exporting. Now I'm going to display importing. Before I do that, I'll show you what my file looks like. So I have a pretty simple file. I kept everything basically the same. I changed the aircraft types, so it just goes up by one, and then the final one, the A341, I made it a Boeing wide body. And yeah, so we can see here all we have is an A331. It's a narrow body, and inside the import, you can do all of the CRUD operations. So if I had another aircraft in the database, I could delete it by just removing the row. I'm going to update this one though to a wide body. And the way that the function knows whether or not you're adding a new aircraft to the database is whether or not this ID column is empty. So these will all be added. Any IDs that are filled out, that is an update, so it'll match the ID of that aircraft. And then any aircraft that it does a comparison of what's in the Excel file and what's in the database, and any aircraft that aren't in the Excel file but are in the database get deleted. So we have our initial aircraft import. I'll do that right now. Take a good look at the aircraft types and you'll see them fill up the table here. There you go. Oh, did I not save? Oh, whoops. Okay, I didn't actually save the wide body change. Sorry. Let's do that again. There we go. So I changed that to wide body, and everything else is here. Get a little display of pagination. We have our Boeing A341 wide body at the end. And then for values, same thing. How this works, very similarly, the ID column needs to be filled out for an update. If I had more than one, I could get rid of the row, and then there's a comparison that happens for a delete. And then anything without an ID it gets added to the database. So in this case, we have no, if we go here, we have one value. So that's this one here, 0.14967, price escalation of 1, 1085. We're going to change that to a discount of 0.15 there. And then we're also adding to the A331 a 2007 year of build with 0.13, 10.67, 11.85. And then for the A332, A335, and then the Boeing, we're adding each one value to those. Just wanted to mention something that I forgot to say when I was recording earlier. The way that the tables are linked, the relation with the tables, is based on this AC type and manufacturer column here. So it's a one-to-many relationship. So there are many values to one aircraft. So this sets up a foreign key within the function. So for values, it uses the ID column and then also sets up a foreign key based on the aircraft type in the database. So back to the import. So I will save this time, and then we'll take a look. So importing, there we go. Go here. We have 2. We can see the discount changed on the A331. I believe I added here. There should be none for this one, right? Because I didn't add anything. I stopped at 35, which if we go here, that has one as well. And then finally, our Boeing has one as well. So these are super useful for the administrator, the client, to get their data from Excel and just do a mass import to initialize the website. So normally there are a lot more values, a lot more aircraft going on. So it was very important to have the Excel operations for aircraft and values. engines, assumptions, and air flight events were not necessary for Excel operations. Last but not least, I just wanted to show off the fact that there is an API for the web app that the Excel COM add-in communicates with to get information, display information, and I can't show the calculations because they're not my intellectual property, but the API does calculations to determine future market values, risk assessment, a lot of things, filtering out what's shown to the user on the Excel side. So unfortunately, I can't show too much of it, but I just wanted to note that I did develop an API, a RESTful API, and that's what its use is for. So that's basically everything that I worked on in regards to this application. There are a few minor things that I left out, but this is a good overview of everything that I did for the project. So hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.